You'll always hear me saying that I wish Star Trek Enterprise had continued further than Season 4. Honestly, it's cool that the show was cut short just as it was getting into its stride, and really showing the potential it had to offer to fans. Sadly, with the cancellation of Enterprise, we never got to see the future stories that the show could tell. Well, today, we're going to explore storylines that might have occurred in a Season 5 of Star Trek Enterprise. Let's go. Hello everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Trek Central. Given it's the 20th anniversary of Star Trek Enterprise this year in 2021, my how time flies, it's a great time to look back at the show and what it had to offer. Season 4 saw many storylines coming together, especially as Captain Jonathan Archer and the crew of the NX-01 Enterprise took steps into a bigger playing field. We're going to jump into the video, but before we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the Trek Central channel. We're talking about Star Trek all the time and want to get you involved. Enterprise was officially cancelled on the 2nd of February 2005, with the 4th season being its last to ever air. This means that the 5th season of Star Trek Enterprise was never produced. Even so, the series' writers and producers had already had plans for some future seasons if the show continued later that year. Manny Coto, who had become the showrunner of Star Trek Enterprise during Season 4, had already started putting plans together for the future of the show, building on what the crew of the NX-01 had already experienced. One aspect being the origins of the Federation, but a major one being the whispers of the Romulan War. The Romulan War is a conflict which is alluded to in Star Trek, but was also heavily featured in the Star Trek Litverse, which is made up of many fantastic books. We'll actually be highlighting the Romulan War here on the channel very soon, so keep an eye out for that video. Essentially, the Romulan War would have been a major conflict for Season 5 of Enterprise, with the Romulans being the major villains of the season altogether. While the conflict itself was never shown on screen, we do know what would have happened thanks to the book and small references here and there. To explore the Romulan War, we'll draw from the Star Trek Litverse canon, as the mainline canon has limited information. The Earth-Romulan War was officially declared by Prime Minister Nathan Samuels on June 1st, 2156, though some sources disagree and state 2155. It would see Earth, via Starfleet, enter into conflict with the Romulan Star Empire. Ultimately, the Earth Alliance, which consisted of the United Earth, the Confederacy of Vulcan, the Andorian Empire, and the United Planets of Tellar, became victorious in 2161. The Romulan War was costly to the United Earth and other members of the coalition of planets, with the NX-05 Atlantis being destroyed in the first month. Captain Jonathan Archer even turned to the Klingon Empire and pleaded with them to assist, however the Klingons refused. 2 years into the war, the Romulan Star Empire even tried attacking Earth during a Battle of Sol. However, thanks to tactics by Starfleet, the Romulan fleet was defeated and dealt a crippling blow. The decisive battle in the Earth-Romulan War was the Battle of Sharon, where both sides recognised the major victory achieved by the Earth Alliance when they delivered a humiliating defeat of the Romulan military. 24 Starfleet ships led by Enterprise, under the command of Jonathan Archer, attacked Romulan staging grounds, taking on 81 starships. The battle was hard, but thanks to multiple starships arriving from Vulcan, Andoria, and Tellarite forces, the battle was swung in the Coalition's favour. The Romulan forces were forced to retreat back into their own territories under orders from command. Following the Battle of Sharon, both sides were faced with staggering losses. This led to Earth offering peace to the Romulan Star Empire. This treaty was negotiated via subspace radio. It's worth noting that all communication with the Romulan Star Empire was always audio, never visual. It would lead to the establishment of a Romulan neutral zone, as well as later leading to the founding of a United Federation of Planets. Again, we'll be diving deeper into the Romulan War in further videos this year. Stay tuned for that, as it's certainly exciting. Another storyline that would have potentially been rounded off was the revelation of who Future Guy was. This of course was the mysterious hologram benefactor of the Suliban Cabal, that would give instructions to the likes of Silik during Enterprise's early seasons. Rick Berman and Brian Braga had considered making Future Guy a Romulan, though later on this was changed to him actually being Jonathan Archer, trying to influence his younger self into correcting the timeline. Future Guy has become a fan favourite in the Star Trek universe, with his story being continued in the books as well as being explored in the video game Star Trek Online. His story is different from the books and series, but it's really interesting to see its conclusion. We've actually done a dedicated video on who Future Guy is here on the channel, go check it out. Remember the Borg episode of Star Trek Enterprise that links the movie of Star Trek First Contact? Well, this was actually going to be explored further. Writers Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens pitched a story to the producers about Alice Krieg playing a Starfleet medical technician, who makes contact with a Borg in Season 2's Regeneration episode. This technician would have become the Borg Queen and likely cause chaos for Starship Enterprise and crew. It's unclear how this story would have fully played out in the grand scheme of things, as it might have affected the Borg storylines we already know of. Either way, it would have been really interesting to play out. Personally, I think Enterprise handled the Borg episode really well, especially the sending of the signal to the Delta Quadrant at the end of the episode, further linking with the Borg's first on-screen appearance in Star Trek The Next Generation all those years ago. A short story that would have been explored was the foundation for Earth's first starbase. The origin of the story actually started with foreshadowing in the Season 4 episode Bound. Yes, the episode where Captain Archer and the crew meet some Orion slave girls, which leads to some disastrous results to say the least. Now, T'Pol would have had an interesting story revolving around her father. Writer and producer Mike Sussman had wanted to have T'Pol meet and interact with her father. The big twist that you might be wondering, well, Mike Sussman wanted T'Pol's father to be a Romulan agent, who was faking his life as a Vulcan officer. This would lead to the suggestion that T'Pol herself was half Romulan, shedding light on her affinity for humans and experimenting with emotions. Finally, we would have visited Denoblia. Dr. Phlox, a Denoblian, was an eye-opening and much-loved crew member for Star Trek Enterprise. He was able to provide comic relief, but also critical analysis and plot developments when needed. A credit to John Billingsley's acting skill. Manny Koto had hoped that Season 5 would see the NX Enterprise visit Denoblia at last. If you watched Star Trek the original series, you might remember Cloud City. Well, Star Trek Enterprise was due to pre-visit this planet. Manny Koto commented in 2004 that he wanted to do 1 or 2 episodes that would take place in the Cloud City of Stratos, which is on the planet of Ardana. Originally, the story was supposed to be in Enterprise's 4th season, however it never got developed. Koto would go on to clarify that this was due to the narrative's length. It wasn't able to fit into the 4th season. Likely the story would have been a 2-parter as well. The goal would be to see Stratos in earlier stages. For those of you who want to go and view the original series episode, it's called The Cloud Minders and is a fantastic watch. The Mirror Universe episodes of Star Trek Enterprise were certainly some of the best the series had ever seen. It was discussed that Enterprise would have seen a return to the Mirror Universe. Check up on how now Empress Hoshi Sato was doing in the Terran Empire.
Who the hell are you?
You're speaking with Empress Sato. Prepare to receive instructions.
Manny Koto had the idea of doing a sort of mini-series inside the season, exploring 4 or 5 episodes. Now, Star Trek Discovery in its first season did something very similar to that when you think back. These ideas might have been borrowed from Enterprise. Brian Braga even revealed via his personal Twitter account that before Enterprise was cancelled, there was talk about setting the entire 5th season in the Mirror Universe. Personally, I'm not so sure about that, it might have been a bit too much. Of course, there are many books, comics, and even video game stories that explore the adventures of Jonathan Archer and the NX-01 Enterprise following Season 4 of the show. If you're in need of more Enterprise stories, and why not, then give some of the books a try. Personally, my favourite adventures are those from the Romulan War, as well as a revisit to the Auto Repair Station seen in Enterprise's 2nd season, and how that sparked an even longer story. It's been a long road, but that's the end of the line for our Star Trek Enterprise adventures for today. Be sure to let us know what you think of Enterprise and the crew would have gotten up to if the show had continued. Perhaps there's a storyline of your own you think we'd like to have seen. Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.